Hi everyone, Tom was here, back at it with the haunt discussion on the Tom Was Here Halloween Haunts channel. Kind of a longer form discussion of some of the haunted attractions we visited during the 2025 season. And this one is Hersheypark Dark Nights. This was a first for the channel, and the first time I've been to Hersheypark since I was, a little kid. So I reached out to Hersheypark and just wanted to see what the options were for filming inside the haunted houses. It's something that I do with every haunted attraction and house that I visit. And at this point, with 6 years in, I do have a large body of work that on the main Tom Was Here channel that you can feel free, if you're a haunt that wants to have me out, to look up, to show you that I visited all of these places, and they've entrusted me into filming their houses and stuff like that. Well, when I reached out to Hersheypark initially, for some reason the link wasn't working to sign up for like media, or go through the channels to set up as media, but we just wanted to see really what the options were for filming inside the houses, because I know that's a lot of people are interested in. So I like to do that. I always have fun with it myself. So I reached out to Hersheypark, finally was able to get the link to work and confirm with them, and they were kind enough to give us passes and have us out. Now, they did warn, we were going a week after what's considered their media night, or their start of season, that this was an extremely busy weekend for them. They had concerts on seemingly every night, and on this particular night they had Slayer. This was Slayer's only US tour date, so we had a feeling it was going to be busy. But let's break down Hersheypark Dark Nights, the haunt discussion, on the Tom Was Here Halloween Haunts channel right now. So as mentioned in the opening, this was a very busy night for Hersheypark Dark Nights. They had a Slayer concert. This was Slayer's only US tour date, was at Hersheypark. And this concert started at, say, 4 p.m. So it was 4 p.m. and it went on until after we left the park. Now, Dark Nights actually closed. Hersheypark proper closes at 10 p.m. Dark Nights was actually open until 11 p.m. But we actually left the park like 9:45-ish, almost 10 o'clock, and they were still going strong. So there were several opening acts. So getting into the parking lot that particular day, we decided to not arrive super early because we knew we'd be there all day, because we did the whole Hersheypark experience and Dark Nights. Doing that, we arrived fashionably late, around 11:30, noon, and the parking lot was busy, super busy. It was tough to get into Hersheypark that particular day. Now, in hindsight, maybe we'd go on, say, a Friday or something like that, where it'll be a lot easier to, lesser lines, shorter lines, and definitely maybe not with a major concert going on. So lesson learned in all those circumstances, but definitely very busy on this particular Saturday in Hersheypark. Now, the weather was, it was September, early September. It wasn't particularly, it wasn't really cold. I brought a jacket just in case, did not have to wear it at all. A gorgeous day for the park. Did not rain, no issues there. Beautifully nice September day, maybe slightly cooler down the evening, but nothing where it was a main issue. So considering we haven't been at Hersheypark, and I believe the friends I was with had never been to Hersheypark, or maybe when they were real young. I haven't been to Hersheypark since I was a little kid. So you're navigating around a new park experience, don't really know the layout, and Hersheypark, if you've never been, is massive. Huge. So our local park, Kennywood, it's an okay size. It's not overly large or anything. This probably takes up like 5 Kennywoods, if you're familiar with the Pittsburgh area. It's so big. It's just absurdly big. And as such, we didn't really know the layout of the land, or what was the best course of action, or what the best way to navigate this whole battlefield was. So as such, we did not get to everything that particular evening. So it's tough to judge this experience based on, say, one section of what this was, or one area, you know, or, you know, because we only got to 3 of the haunted houses and 2 of the 4 scare zones. So missed out on 2 haunted houses and 2 scare zones. So as such, that's an uneven experience overall. It doesn't really convey the entire experience of Dark Nights, because we did not get to experience it all. And I thought we would, to be honest with you. In fact, I was hoping, and I may have mentioned this during the main video, that they would clear out when the Slayer concert started. I was hoping that all the people that were wearing Slayer t-shirts and all this stuff would disappear. And surprisingly, they didn't. I don't know why they came to Hersheypark to then, maybe they didn't care about the opening acts and just were waiting for Slayer, and that's why they didn't leave till well later in the evening. And then I was hoping a lot of the large contingent of people with families would leave when Dark Nights started, because Dark Nights is a Halloween themed event, and, you know, scary zones, things like that. That seemingly didn't happen. In fact, it seemed like more people appeared when Dark Nights started, which I guess I should have assumed, but I didn't anticipate. So as such, very, very busy night for Dark Nights this particular evening. So going into the haunted houses, we the first one we went to was the Kill and Fill Garage. It was their newest haunted house on the for that season, and as such, I felt it would be the one to have the longest line, because that would only make sense, because everybody would want to do the Kill and Fill Garage. We got into that super early. Actually, before Dark Nights officially started, we got the announcement that Dark Nights has started while we were in the Kill and Fill Garage line. And as such, we got through the line for Kill and Fill Garage probably in like 20 minutes or so, because we got in line about 5:35, 5:40-ish, and we were in Kill and Fill Garage by 6:05. So that is the move if you can do it. If you're there as an all-day Hershey guest and you go into, you're going there for Dark Nights and going into the haunted houses, you definitely want to get in the line for one of them prior to Dark Nights opening. It was definitely the move. If you're willing to kill 20 minutes or whatever your experience, that was the play. So Kill and Fill Garage, very well themed experience, fun experience. Now, it wasn't the daytime, like the bright daytime. Like, it didn't get night until much, you know, it didn't get darker till much later. It was early September after all. But maybe some of that's lost when experiencing a haunt in the daytime. But there's some good actors throughout, some good scares throughout, not overly long experience. Now, with a important note, with a haunted house, theme park, amusement park experience, you're not going to get the same experience that you're getting at a dedicated haunted attraction. You're just not. The theming could be great. The experience could be great. It could be well themed. It could look really good. But if you're expecting some type of 20-minute, 25-minute experience in a theme park, an amusement park, that's very unlikely. In fact, rare, if not ever, happens. But I will say, at least how it felt, it was a bit on the shorter side for me personally. And I think that's more the wait time in relation to what you're getting out of it. Because I expect with a theme park, you know, somewhere in the neighborhood of a 6-7 minute type experience, 8 minutes, maybe 10 if you're lucky, but that's bold to ask, because you have to, you know, stack scare actors throughout, and you have 5 haunted houses across the property, so that may be a bold ask. But this one came in, and we were not walking super fast. We tend to, what I always coin the term on the main channel, is Scooby-Doo our way through stuff. And that is, like, if you see the haunt gang in Scooby-Doo and they're kind of like, you know, like kind of tiptoeing along, that's kind of how we like to roll through haunted houses. We're not running through. But this clocked in roughly about 5 minutes, 15 seconds. Not overly long, not necessarily worth, you know, maybe like a, you know, I mean, our wait, like I said, 20 minutes, 30 minutes for a theme park, amusement park, haunted attraction, okay, that's fine. But when you're talking like hour or hours long wait for a 5 minute or so attraction, that's where it gets sticky for sure. It's definitely, you know, that's where you're like, okay, let's pump the brakes a little bit there. That seems like a bit much. Now, fast passes certainly could have been an option, and we explored them. We actually thought about doing it because we were going to be there all day, and we figured, hey, we haven't been here ever. And basically since I was a kid, so basically ever. And why not do a fast pass for that particular day? Now it said fast passes start at $40. $40 seemed pretty reasonable per person, but on this particular evening, there's that additional pricing. It was actually $80. $80 seemed a little bit steep, and by the time we kind of kicked around the idea of potentially doing it for the Dark Nights experience, we had already been through the park the entire day. So it's like, we could have done that, and it probably got to all the haunted houses and all the scare zones doing that, but an additional $80 just seemed, thing. Plus, I get able to judge Hersheypark Dark Nights based on its merits of the fact that it's, like, what I could get to for the standard, not fast pass experience. Next time, if on a night like that, I would probably consider doing the fast pass. If I could consider doing it again, I would definitely do the fast pass. So in that particular one, you consider it. But even the fast pass line, because we went right from Kill and Film Garage to Twisted Carnival, and that we waited about 57 minutes for. Our longest wait of the night was in the Twisted Carnival line. But as such, even the Fast Pass line was particularly busy on this evening. So the Fast Pass line was lined up just as long as us. Now, obviously, they get in a lot faster. Maybe the wait time in the Fast Pass line was, say, 20 minutes, and we waited 60. So, is it worth it? If you want to get to all the haunted houses, yeah, for sure. Like when we went to Universal many years back, we got the fast passes for Universal because we knew we'd only be there one evening, and we got to. And I haven't been to Universal in some time, but we got to every single haunted house, every single scare zone, some of them twice, every show. The Bill and Ted, the last year of Bill and Ted, if you're familiar with Universal, all those things, and we went. We did a stay in Slay or whatever it's called, and we did all those things and left at like 2 a.m. or whenever they closed. So pillar to post, rocket on our back, every single thing that we could possibly get to, and left without like a moment to spare. So in that sense, fast passes sometimes are worth it. But I wanted to try Hersheypark without doing that this time around, just to give you a scoop on if you decide, hey, I'm not going to do fast passes. I just want to experience Hersheypark and what you can get to. And what we got to was 3 of the 5 haunted houses, 2 of the 4 of the scare zones. Now, we maybe could have got to additional scare zones. Obviously, they're just a walkthrough thing. But, we were kind of stuck on this one side of the park the entire evening for the most part. And so the Twisted Carnival was probably the one I liked the best. There was a lot of fun, unique scares in there. They had like a human cannonball element of people that came through, kind of shot out on like a bungee. It was really cool. And then, they had like kind of the mirror maze with the clowns and stuff like that. A lot of fun scare actors throughout, a lot of fun interactions throughout. So of the haunts that we went to, we liked Twisted Carnival the best, at least based on my experience. I think we all enjoyed it pretty good. Now, once again, it clocked in at about 5 minutes, so that's not necessarily worth the wait. But I really did enjoy Twisted Carnival. I thought that was their, best haunt of the evening based on our experience. Now, your mileage may vary. When I film haunted houses, or when I go through haunted houses and I'm giving my review, it's crazy because you can talk with someone and they can watch a review or watch my walkthrough and go, man, I didn't have that experience at all. Or I had a completely different experience. Or maybe my experience doesn't convey well on camera and they had experience that they loved and they thought it was way better. Or maybe, I was saying like this particular haunt, a little disappointing, this and that. And they're like, man, I love this experience. So I'm only giving you my experience on this particular night. Your experience on this particular night or any other night may be completely different. You may not get necessarily all the scares in Twisted Carnival. You may be disappointed by what you got out of Twisted Carnival. There's very possible that we could both have a completely unique experience at 2 ends of the spectrum. That happens. So even when I film haunted houses, a lot of people are like, whoa, when you film haunted houses, you're just giving everything away. Not really. Sure, I'm giving away kind of the path and the beats and the story, but like the experience of watching a haunted house and then being there for a haunted house, seeing different actors in different spots can completely change the overall experience. So in my opinion, based on what we went through, Twisted Carnival was our favorite of the night. We got a good bit of scares. There was certainly elements that we enjoyed that were really cool and fun interactions throughout. That's why I named it the best. The other one we went through was A State of Evil. Now, State of Evil had the shortest wait of the night. It said it was only supposed to be 30 minutes. I think we waited 35, probably closer to 40. And once again, another like slightly over 5-minute experience. So in all the haunted houses, they roughly had kind of the same time, roughly 5 minutes or so going through. And I wish they were all at least a minute or two longer. Does that still make up for an hour long plus wait? No, it does not. But at least having another minute in there, I think would have at least felt a little better. Now I did enjoy all of the haunted houses. I thought all of them were well themed throughout. I thought the Estate of Evil looked like a state. It felt pretty immersive. The Carnival looked like a carnival. The Kill and Film looked like a garage. They all had definitely immersive elements. At least for that brief moment, you felt like you were in a garage, a carnival, a scary carnival, and in a mysterious mansion. I thought they had good scares throughout. I thought they had good characters, well themed. Costumes fit the theme. Actors fit the theme. I thought they were all very well done for what they were. An amusement park haunt. I thought everybody did a pretty good job in there as a whole. Now, where I say the good thing about haunts and the fact that all the Hershey haunts, at least the ones we experienced, were rather enjoyable. The one that what I felt Hershey missed the mark on, at least based on my experience. Now, you may have experience where you loved it, was the scare zones. And we only went through 2 of them. The 2 we went through were the Midway of Misery and the Fallout Zone. Now, the Fallout Zone is a very large area in there, and there's a bunch of different scare actors in there. But I noticed they were only working if people were walking kind of towards the other haunted houses. So if you were walking towards those haunted houses, there's actors all over, and they're interacting with people, and they're doing photo ops, and they're doing all this stuff. Now, interestingly enough, and this was a mistake on our part, because I had thought about rolling around and doing it again, but when you're with a group of people, you don't want to rock the boat or anything like that, but we were always walking out of this zone and never walking into this zone. So we never got the experience of like what going through this zone with all the actors interacting with these groups were. And I noticed the few times that were on the opposite side, there were a few actors over there, but they were kind of already working with another person or another group, doing their thing, which is fine. Fallout Zone, like I said, was fine. There was a lot of different actors in there, and they had fire pit things going, and there was a few actors that we did interact with, talking about like the toxicity and all that stuff. So they did a fine job there. I just wish I had got more of the experience of them kind of working our group versus others. But like on a busy night, what can I expect? What can I expect there? The one that was the biggest disappointment was the Midway of Misery. We walked through after we got out of State of Evil, because State of Evil's exit is right near the Midway of Misery. We walked through this up, and then about 10 minutes later walked through back. And in both instances, I did not see one scare actor at all. Now, it could be a thing like other theme parks that I've seen where those actors roam around. They don't stay in the Midway. But if so, then just like those other parks that do that, that's not really a scare zone then. Don't call it a scare zone if the actors aren't going to be kind of stationed in that little area. Now, it could have been a thing where we were on a break or a shift change or whatever, but to have an area that's considered a scare zone area and have no actors roaming throughout was disappointing. That was a bit of a bummer. So for us, the Midway of Misery wasn't really a scare zone at all, because there were really no actors there at all. So that was, kind of a disappointment, and considering that was only the 2 scare zones that we hit, doesn't bode well, at least in our opinion, on that particular night for those scare zones. Now, the other ones may have been great. I wish we had gotten to them. I wish we had gotten to the other haunted houses. I think we would have learned whether, Hersheypark as a whole was experienced. But right now, this experience, based on what we experienced, is uneven. unwritten. Not exactly what I would call a finished experience based on what we did at Hershey. I would love to go back on a night, maybe with a fast pass, and experience everything that Hershey had to offer before I made a true judgment on whether Hershey is, worth checking out for that. Now, we haven't visited too many other theme park haunted attractions, so I will say, based on this experience, I did enjoy Hersheypark's offerings a bit more than, say, other theme parks, amusement parks that have done it. Not to the point of Universal Halloween Horror Nights. Halloween Horror Nights, in my opinion, was better than Hershey, but that's not, it's a little bit unfair because we didn't experience everything Hershey had to offer, where we did experience everything in that particular year of Halloween Horror Nights had to offer. So it's an unfair comparison. So if you're doing something where you experience almost everything a haunted house, haunted attraction, theme park haunt has to offer, you can fairly compare it to other ones. But if you didn't, then it's an unfair comparison. But, I do want to try it again. I would definitely try it on a Friday. I would not try it on a Saturday. Especially maybe the Friday early in the season or the media night I would consider doing as well, because going there on, say, a Saturday was a lot. And a Saturday with a major concert was a lot. A lot getting in. Not as bad getting out because we left early. But if we had not left early, it would have been probably a nightmare getting out too as well. But Hersheypark is a major theme park. It's massive. So understandably so. But did enjoy the experience, did enjoy some of the haunted houses. I wish we had gotten some more scares and more things in some of the scare zone. Food was fine, had, good time with the food. The crowd was a lot. When you're fighting with a larger crowd for anything, it's going to be a tough experience overall. And I wonder if we had picked a better night, if we would have had a better result. That's probably the case. But let me know your thoughts on Hersheypark Dark Nights. Did you go this year? Did you like it? Did you get to all the haunted houses? What's your favorite haunted house at Hersheypark? Did we miss out not getting to the coal mine and so it's Auntie Abattoir or whatever that is? That's the two we didn't get to. Did we miss out on we missed out on the newest scare zone they had, like a witch's coven type thing, and there's one other one as well. Did we miss out not getting to those? Let me know all in the comments down below. And your thoughts on Hersheypark Dark Nights as a whole. Was this something you would check out? Did you check it out this season? I would love to hear your feedback. But guys, thanks so much for watching. If you are new here, make sure to like, share, subscribe. If you'd like to support me on Patreon like John Bailey, like Brett Persing, like Fan, you can do so. Link is in the description below. If you'd like to buy a t-shirt, a Tom Was Here t-shirt, you can do so at Spreadshirt, as well as links to my eBay store, Facebook page, Instagram, TikTok, whatnot, Arena Club. The links are in the description below. But when it comes to the next haunt discussion, or the next video in general, we will see you soon. And thanks for visiting the TomWasHere Halloween Haunts channel. Bye, everyone.